Alright, we're back. We got ourselves some All City Vienna Lager, and this is a collaboration with Interborough and Oxbow. You can kind of see it wrapped around that top band there. So, two different breweries, I think, out of New York, if I'm not mistaken. And it looks like not much info here. Oh, 5% alcohol. That's about all they give us, guys, so that's all I got. Vienna Lager is a really good, crushable style, in my opinion. I love myself a Vienna Lager. Kind of has that caramel color, but it's still, cold, crisp. You do also get some kind of caramel character, although it's not super sweet. It's just slightly sweet. And then maybe just a little bit of like biscuit. But really easy drinking, you can imagine. Being a German style, a lot of their offerings are obviously meant to be kind of like drink one after another, sessionable, that sort of thing. And I can definitely see myself crushing a lot of those if I had them. Okay, let's get into it. We're going to be using some Oaken Lab today, and this one's Far Afield. And you can see the scent notes right here next to this, fairly basic but clean label. And we got Mountain Mist, Still Lake, Cedar, and 5 a.m. There's a look at the soap. I scooped it out of the side there. Pretty clean pour. And one thing I like about Oaken Lab is I mentioned this before, and you go right underneath, and there's the logo when it's twisted tight. And I noticed, I was like, yeah, it's just the little things, but I like it. And the owner actually said, that's not by accident. That's on purpose. And I was like, nice. Alright, so we got the lather whipped up in the Lancaster bowl here. We got our That Darn Raw brush with the Bird's Eye Maple and Ivory top. And it has an Aftershave Co. SynBad synthetic knot in it. And let's get into it. So the scent on this one, it's kind of a nice, easygoing green scent. I wouldn't describe it as like a bright, fresh green. It's almost like if it was I guess 5 a.m. on the front of the tub kind of sets the scene, because I think that's kind of important to get a picture of what this smells like. Here's a good look at the soap. 5 a.m. sets the scene. You're in the mountains. You're near a lake. I would not describe this as an aquatic. So you're in the mountains near a lake. You might be picking up, some moss or algae or, some of the growth that's next to the lake. But for me, it's not an aquatic. I would focus more on you're in the mountains. So 5 a.m. in the mountains. The dew is probably still on the trees and on the earth and, the plants. And maybe the sun is not quite coming up, but the earth is starting to get warm again. And so what you're getting is it's a green scent, but it's like, the mountains are coming alive for the day. But it's not going to be a sunny day, I don't think. It's just going to be like cloudy. It's not going to get too warm. And it's just a nice green scent. Definitely, when I smell it, it definitely reminds me of being up in the mountains. I live in the Pacific Northwest. I've spent many days, many nights in the mountains, and it definitely gives me that vibe, you know. It's not in your face. It's a rather calm scent, but it's quite enjoyable. Definitely could see this being a good candle scent, as I call them. Definitely could see that. All right. And I didn't speak too much about the soap base, but this is in their V3 soap base. You could see at the very top, and you could get a good look at the ingredients. This is a product of Indonesia, which is pretty cool. So I have used this before, not this soap, but I've used the V3 base before with Earth of Mankind, another good scent. We are going to be using our Gem G-Bar, as you can see there on the side. This is a very handsome razor here. At the time, I could imagine it looked pretty futuristic. Really nice looking piece of machinery here. And on the inside, I got one of these Daylogic single edge blades. And I got this at the my local RiteAid, which is just kind of like a drugstore, convenience store type deal. And I have a strong suspicion it's just a Persona stainless blade. So, there's that. I haven't used the V3 base like a ton, but I have used it before a few times. And I remember really enjoying it. It is a somewhat expensive product. You know, stuff that needs to be imported tends to be a little bit more pricey. I think it was $25. So not egregious, but you know, $25 is $25. I didn't get the matching splash for this one, but I do believe the matching splash is around the same price. I don't know for a fact, but I believe it's around the same price. This soap is perfectly slick. It's got a nice, you know, just above medium density. I wouldn't call it like, you know, super high density or anything like that, but just above medium density. It took a lot of water, and just looks good. Looks good, feels good. So I definitely have been enjoying this V3 base the few times I've used it. And it looks like we tore something off. Perhaps a pimple. Feels like there was a bump there. It's all good though. Let's go ahead and lather up for pass 2. I'm going to go ahead and give it a little swirl there. Try to scoop all the soap to one side as I usually do. And we'll take a little swig. Definitely don't want to forget about the beverage. So, you know, I was trying to chill out just a little bit, and then the pressure was applied. And I'll explain. I had some interest in Through the Fire Fine Craft. They had a release called Mr. Postman. Now, if you know me, I work at the post office. I'm a postie, or whatever Lee called it, a postie. And so I work at the post office. Well, that looks a little bit dry, doesn't it? And Through the Fire Find Craft released a soap called Mr. Postman, and it has like this USPS logo on the side of like a hot rod. It's like somebody took one of the LLVs, which is the vehicles that they deliver mail in, and it's like they turned it into a hot rod, lowered it down, and it has the motor coming out the top and all that. And when I saw it, I was like, fuck, I gotta get that. It's based off of some cologne I never heard of. But I was like, fuck, I have got to get that. Mr. Postman. That's like, sounds like it's tailor-made for me. And so, I saw she announced, there's only a few sets left. And I was like, son of a bitch. I was thinking I could kind of take my time, come back to it maybe. But she was like, only a few sets left. Limited edition deal. And I was like, alright, fuck it. I'll bite. So I went back and picked it up. And then, I had kind of had my eye on that Barrister and Mann's Full Measure of a Man release, which is their first, true tobacco fragrance that they've ever released, supposedly. And again, here I am thinking, I got time, I could pick it up, on my next paycheck. I'll sit and wait for some reviews. It got pretty massive distribution. And so I start seeing a few reviews on YouTube and on, social media. And everybody seems to be enjoying it. And so I go look again, just curious to see how it's selling. I go to look again. First website I check, sold out. So I go to the next website, sold out. So I go to a third website, sold out. And on the fourth website, it's still there. And I'm like, oh, shit. I was like, now I'm in this situation where I'm like, do I roll the dice? Or do I just fucking pick it up now? You know what I mean? And so, cutting back did not last very long. Not that I set any goals to cut back, but I was just like, you know what? I think I got enough for this month. I'll ride it out. And sure enough, that did not work. Did not go as planned. Stuff that I had interest in released and apparently was selling well. So I needed to take action. And so at least I know, I'll be getting some things that I should like. And if I don't like them, since they were selling like hotcakes, realistically, I wouldn't have any problem moving them, selling them. Although I don't really sell things right away. What I do is I give them a chance to grow on me, and then after, an extensive amount of time, I will finally sell them or just give them away. But I give them a chance to grow on me. I don't just send things out the door right away. It's just not my style. I've had too many soaps that I didn't like initially that turned around to be, some of my favorite scents, or at least I found enjoyment in them after some time had passed. I think I put more lather on the face than I took off. I think I'm getting progressively worse at cleaning the lather off my face as time goes on. You know, my shaving skills, they're getting pretty good, but my lather removing skills are getting progressively worse. Look at, I got way up there on my forehead. I honestly don't know what the fuck's happening with that. Alright, so, oh, and I didn't really mention, again, I probably should have mentioned this earlier in the video. The scent strength was like a 4 out of 5. I don't think my nose is back to 100%. It's kind of, the majority of the time I can smell things, but some things that I know are there, I don't always get to the same effect that I used to. So I don't think it's, you know, all the way back. So take my 4 out of 10 with a pinch of salt. But on my unboxing video, you could probably see as well that I thought it was, you know, somewhat light. But it is a nice, pleasant scent. I would consider it a candle scent, not a cologne type scent or anything like that. Just like a candle scent. It's something that's pleasant, you know, easily enjoyable, but not sexy or professional or anything like that. All right, I will get the rest of that lather out off cam. And we are going to go with some Maol Grooming Helioteris. And this is what I describe as a wild fougere. And I just call it wild because it's really herbaceous and green. And it does have a nice hit of citrus as well. It got a nice quality restrictor. I'm glad that the cap on this one hasn't exploded like the other one did. I'm gonna do some slapplications here. maybe another round for the neck. I think I neglected it just a little bit. Oh yeah, and this Maol aftershave is really good stuff. I don't hear it, you know, talked about as much as I used to, but I think everybody that's tried it knows it's good shit. Might as well just get some of those skin foods up in the forehead area. Alright guys, that'll do it. That was a great shave. Another nice experience with that Oaken Lab V3 base. You know, the scent wasn't like wow, but it was nice. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for all the support. Cheers.